All right, guys, long time no talk. So here's where we were stopping at. I had gone over all of the answers to these 3 U-tries for you guys. And I had mentioned that you're going to need to watch the second part. Well, we're going to get started with the second part for today. Area of trapezoids now. So trapezoids are where you have parallel sides. So that's this top part right here. Let me choose a different color. But this top part right here, and then this bottom part. Now, if you notice, they have these little arrows on it, and we talked about this when talking about angles. What do those arrows represent? So if you're saying parallel, you're correct. So your bases come from the parallel sides, and your bases, the way we identify it is base 1 and base 2. Now, in order to represent them, we use base sub 1 and base sub 2, okay? So you have the little subscript. And then your height is the length of a perpendicular segment connecting the bases. So for the last 3 figures that we've talked about, parallelogram and triangle, your height has come from the same type of segment. So it has to make that perpendicular segment connecting the bases. Now, your formula for area of a trapezoid is a little different than what we've done before. Area is equal to 1/2 your height times the sum of your 2 bases. So, for area of a trapezoid, you got to take half of the height times it by the sum of your bases. Another way of being able to write it is area is equal to height times the sum of your bases divided by 2. Okay, so you could use either one of those formulas in order to solve for area of a trapezoid. So, let's look at an example. Finding the area of the trapezoid. So, area is equal to half the height times the sum of my bases. Or, like I said before, you can do area is equal to height times base sub 1 plus base sub 2, all divided by 2. Now, remember, your height has to come from a perpendicular segment connecting your bases. And remember, your bases are parallel segments. So, there's a bunch of numbers in number 1. However, 7 and 5 are not associated with parallel sides, because if I were to extend those out, they're eventually going to cross. And can parallel sides ever cross? No, they can't. So what that means is that 6 and 8 are going to have to be my bases. So I'm just going to write, and it doesn't matter which one is base sub 1 and which one is base sub 2. So I'm just going to write base sub 1 is equal to 6, base sub 2 is equal to 8. And then it helps to be able to draw right on the figure. Now, the height has to come from a perpendicular segment. So if I notice, this is the only segment that's perpendicular. So my height is going to be 4. So I'm going to use this top formula here. So area is equal to 1/2 the height times the sum of my bases. Filling in what I just identified in the figure. So I'm going to take half of my height, so half of 4, times the sum of my bases. So I have to take 6 plus 8. And now I just have to simplify. So half of 4 gives me 2. And then I'm just going to do what's inside parentheses with order of ops. So 6 plus 8 gives me 14. And now all you have to do is solve 2 times 14. Well, 2 times 14 is 28. And since no units are given, I'm just going to identify it as being units squared. Okay, so since no units are given, you just write units. So there's the area of my trapezoid. Remember, your bases come from your parallel sides, and your height comes from a perpendicular segment that connects your bases. These other numbers right here, they don't really mean anything with us being able to find the area. Okay, so looking at number 2 now, this one looks a little different than what we've been talking about. But again, guys, you need the parallel sides for your bases and then the perpendicular segment for your height. So take a moment right now, think about which one of these numbers are going to represent your bases and then which numbers are going to represent your height. So now that I've given you a little bit of time, your bases come from parallel segments, okay? So my parallel segments are going to be the top and the bottom in this case. So again, these two are going to be my bases. And your height has to come from a perpendicular segment. Remember, the clear giveaway is this little box right here, okay, for perpendicular. So that means your height is going to be equal to 4. I'm going to choose the second formula now in order to do it, so then I can show you guys what it looks like. So area is equal to height times the sum of your bases, all divided by 2. So your height is 4, base 1, and again, it doesn't matter which one's base 1 and base 2. I label the top as base 1, so I have 5 plus 8, because that's base 2, all divided by 2. So now you're just going to work on simplifying. So following order of operations or GEMS, PEMDAS, GEMS, whichever one you guys use, you're going to do 5 plus 8, which gives us 13, all divided by 2. So now what you're going to do is 4 times 13. So 4 times 13 gives us 52. So now I have 52 divided by 2. And then when I do 52 divided by 2, I'm going to get 26. So my area in this case is 26. Using my units, I have meters, and it's going to be meters squared. So the area for my figure is 26 meters squared. So remember, guys, it's just really important to identify what each part is for your formula, and then you just have to plug it in and follow your order of operations. All right, so then the next part that we're going to do is where it's a word problem. So they don't give you the figure now. So let's just read it. So if the area of a trapezoid is 36 inches squared and has a height of 4 inches, and it says one of the bases is 5 inches, what is the length of the other base? So the question is asking you to find the length of the other base, meaning you only know one of your bases. So let's highlight the important parts. So they say the area of a trapezoid, so that kind of tells you what formula you're going to be using, is 36 inches squared. It has a height of 4 inches and one base is 5 inches. What you need to solve for is the length of the other base. So writing your formula, area is equal to, and I'm just going to use height times the sum of your bases, all divided by 2. So plug in what you know. Well, you know area is 36 equals height, they tell us, is 4. Now they tell us one of the bases. It doesn't matter which one you plug it in for, okay? So I'm just going to use it as base 1, meaning base 2 is what I'm going to be solving for. And then all of this needs now to get divided by 2. So working on solving this now, you're just going to solve it as if you were solving a regular equation. So I'm going to get rid of this dividing by 2. Well, in order to get rid of dividing by 2, you have to multiply by 2 on both sides. These cancel out over here, so 2 times 36, and I'm going to carry it up here, is equal to 72. So 72 is equal to 4 times 5 plus b. So now you're working to get your variable by itself. Well, it's attached this whole thing right here is attached with that multiplying by 4. So to get rid of the multiplying by 4, I'm going to divide again both sides. So with dividing both sides by 4, 72 divided by 4 gives us 18. So 18 is equal to, and 5 plus b. So now you have a one-step equation that you're going to solve. So you're going to subtract 5 from both sides. So you get b is equal to 13. So now you have what your base is. You just have to give what the units are. So it's going to be 13 inches. So it's just like everything we've been doing. You're just still solving for a variable. Now it's just that you're going to have to do a little bit more. If any of you are wondering how to use the other formula, I'll do that right now. I am going to have to erase this part from here. So all I'm going to say is that if you want to still copy this down, just pause the video so that you can do so. Otherwise, I'm going to erase it so that I can go through using the other method. So, okay, we're going to use the formula area is equal to 1/2 times the height times the sum of your bases. So, filling in what we know again, well, we know area is 36 equals half of our height. They told us our height was 4 times our bases. Again, we only know 1, so we're going to have to solve for the other one. So, doing this now, I notice that I have half of 4, which is really easy to do. So, this is now going to become half of 4, which is 2 times 5 plus your base. And you don't have to write the little 2. You can, but you don't have to. So some of you might be wondering, well, don't I distribute the 2? And the answer is yes, you can. That's just adding one more step for yourselves. I know that when I have it right next to a parenthesis, that means to multiply. So I'm going to choose to divide both sides by 2. They cancel out. So again, you just have 36 divided by 2. I'm going to carry this up here. So you have 18 is equal to 5 plus now that base. Subtracting 5 from both sides, and you get base is equal to 13 inches. So it doesn't matter which way or what method you're going to use. You're still going to get the same answer. So you guys can pick and choose whichever one you're most comfortable with. Everyone has a way that they originally learned it, and that's probably how you have it memorized. So that's area of a trapezoid with the, it says you tried, but that's not a you try problem. You guys are going to do the you try right now. So here you go. These are the 3 that you guys are going to do. So pause the video again and then try the problems, and I'll have the work for you guys when you get back. All right, and there you have it. So there's the answers to the you try problems that you guys had to complete. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, like I would normally do with us in class, is I'm just going to stop the lesson for today. We're going to save area of irregular figures for kind of just one giant thing to do next week. So we're going to skip over this part and we'll pick up with that next class. So what you guys are going to have to do today is you're going to complete the evens on both sides of the worksheet that is posted on Schoology for you guys. It needs to be completed by 11:59 on Friday. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'd love to see some of you guys in office hours, but if you have questions, just send me a message too if you don't want to come to office hours. But I'd love to see some of your faces. Miss seeing you guys in the classroom. All right. Have a great day, guys.